this. All right, what's up, guys? Welcome to Success Spotlight. I'm your host, Raymond On, and today we'll be hosting one of my good friends, Rob Torres. He actually runs his own digital marketing agency, and he helps a lot of business owners use social media to get their message out there and to make a greater impact using social media. So I'd like to welcome onto the show Rob Torres.
Hey, how's it
Hey, what's
going,
up,
Ray?
Rob? Hey,
Pleasure to
what's up,
connect.
man? Welcome to the show.
Thank you, thank you. It's a pleasure to be on. Happy to help in any way
Yeah,
possible. So,
yeah.
yeah, like
So
anything I can do to kind of bring value and share what I've learned is exciting for me, and I'd love to, help out in that way.
yeah, sure. Maybe
So,
if you get the camera centered, like eye level, then that's good.
yeah, let me get that really
So,
quickly done.
yeah. But yeah. So my friend Rob, he runs a digital marketing agency based in LA, and we want to talk about just how he was able to build his agency. What were some of the steps that it took? How one of his goals and ambitions for his digital agency is called Millennials Digital, Digital Millennials, and so he wants it to be one of the largest, agencies in the world, managing people's social media. So I want to ask Rob just how he got started with that and just his journey into social media. So yeah, I think Rob. Like I said, he's been in the space. A lot of people think, hey, I'm too old for social media, or I don't think I'm, just I don't think I'm fit for social media. But Rob's helped a lot of clients, people who are old and young, just a bunch of different people get exposure on social media. So kind of what's been like your reason for getting into social media? Can you share like a little bit about your journey?
Yeah, to be honest, it started off with like obviously that supply and demand conversation. I had the privilege of working with some pretty big names, I guess, in this influence world, and my whole job was to teach them what they didn't know in regards to social. So a lot of the things that come easy to us digitally native people, whether that's sharing on stories, storytelling through video, running media buys for more engagement, more audience reach. These are things that a lot of other individuals don't just quite comprehend or understand at the level we do. So my whole role is started off just consulting and really helping them expand their reach, expand what they do. And then I noticed that there was obviously a market demand for these services at a very business level. So understanding that most businesses didn't really put out the proper type of content and distribute it on a consistent basis left me to imagine what would have happened if we were to have a solution for them. And so that really led into me creating a team out of a social media solution, right? We had different departments, account management, production, media buying, and influencer campaigns. And each of those departments kind of works in cohesion to serve a client, right? And so for me, remembering what I used to help individuals on a very personal brand and celebrity level led me into helping brands and businesses kind of push their messaging and their brand identity to the marketplace. But yeah, it really just started by serving people. I was able to help them, serve them, and help them grow, and took those skill sets and apply it at a more B2B level. And yeah, this is where we're at today. Still growing the agency, looking into new markets. We're definitely, a little bit of a setback with the COVID-19, but we were hoping to open up a Mexico City office here in June, July. Looks like it might happen later this year, but still in the works of doing that. So it's been an exciting run, man, and just keeping it going, keeping it alive is kind of what I love.
Yeah, so who was the first person that you helped? And you say you're gonna open up in Mexico City. It sounds like you're expanding pretty quick. Could you kind of tell us the scope of how many people, how many clients you're serving, and what it is that you do?
Yeah, so one of the first clients that we helped was actually a pretty big fitness influencer called Mike. His name is Mike O'Hearn. He's Mr. America, Mr. USA, very just notable fitness influencer with millions of followers on not only YouTube but Instagram. And we were creating content for him, really giving him a strategy for social. He would sell his fitness programs and whatnot, and that kind of got us into the understanding of how important not only the content creation side was, but the distribution, what you do with the distribution of that content. That led into other influencers or business entrepreneurs. That actually was where we spent about 2 or so years working with top level CEOs, Ed Milet, Brian Underwood, different types of individuals that are global speakers or whatnot, and we create content, help them really push their messaging and grow them into different audiences, right? Cross pollinate into different niches and verticals. And yeah, so I've been blessed to be on the personal brand side, working with some of the bigger influences in that degree, but also in the sense of what we're doing at a more SMB or enterprise level B2B side is the fact that creative creatives are really, their talents are in there, what they know from a very visual or creative perspective. So putting those skill sets in line with what a business needs has really kind of been my forte in the last couple of months. Actually, a little bit over 2 years now. And so, knowing that there's a ton of businesses out there that would, really maximize their marketing efforts if they had the proper voice, the proper production in place, the proper distribution, and the right platforms, it really helps them expand, you know, their reach and what they do. So that's kind of what's helping us propel this whole concept of hiring and bringing more people onto the team. It started off really in training them because a lot of people understand social, but they don't understand what social looks like at a business level. So we really created a lot of training development that goes into giving people the understanding of what it's like to work with a client, what it's like to service a client, what it's like to create great results for the client, right? And so we've been working on that for the last 2 years and creating really a really bulletproof training program for creatives that want to take this to the marketplace and serve businesses at a very social media marketing level. So the Mexico thing came up because actually there was a demand for it, and there was a client that requested our services, and that kind of opened my eyes to a whole new market in Mexico City. I've been privileged and blessed to have some great connections at a global level where they've introduced me to some bigger companies out there, and so that makes it feasible for me to invest into an office and invest into the time spent having the I guess the assets there, whether that's team, office, whatever is needed to make it happen for my clients. But yeah, it's really just a supply and demand type of deal for me right now.
Awesome. Yeah, and so, there's a lot of social media companies out there, and I think one of the biggest things that people have been having trouble with is growth. And so, how have you been handling that part, and how do you stand out from other companies? It sounds like you're really good at helping brands and businesses tell stories and maybe market their services online. What do you do for them as far as growth and do you do the whole management? You do the whole content creation management, ads, growth, engagement, or what is it that what makes you stand out from other companies, and how are you tackling the growth part, especially now with the algorithm changes?
Yeah, so it's really interesting, right? Being in the industry for 6+ years now, it's been really interesting to see all the different types of marketers that have come up, right? Whether that's a paid media specialist, or a gray hat, white hat growth hacker, or a you know campaign, a kind of a giveaway campaign, or a there's so many different ways to grow online, really. And one of the things that at the end of the day that's needed is good storytelling and good creative and good distribution, right? That's one of the things that constantly go overlooked. And so when it comes to bringing value, we understand there's all these variables, and like, I mean, I've definitely worked with other individuals that are specialty in some of those parts, like I said, and whether that's growth on Instagram, whether that's YouTube collaborations, you name it, there's a solution for it out there. But just at the end of the day, it comes out to the creative that is being matched with the brand or person that's going to really take it to the next level. And the cool thing is there's an infinite amount of creativity that people can bring, and it's just kind of like matching them to the right, I guess, persona or brand that they can excel in. That's going to help, I guess. I don't know if that answers your question quite necessarily. What sets us apart in the sense of, I guess, preparing individuals to take on the work? Is that what you were asking?
Yeah, just like, what makes your agencies, different from all the other agencies that offer management and growth. And I don't even know nowadays how agencies are growing clients. I don't know if it's through the follow and follow or shout outs, but I'm just wondering like what is unique about the agency, and also how are you helping people grow, because it's a lot harder to grow now on Instagram at least, and maybe Facebook.
Yeah, at the end of the day, I guess for brands to grow on social, it comes down to what does the platform want you to do. It wants you to pay for for viewers, for reach. It wants you to pay for eyeballs, right? And so we know that, right? We know that there's so many algorithm changes that makes it difficult to do some of these white hat, gray hat type of tactics that makes it cheaper for the client or for the brand to grow. So with that being said, is understanding that it really comes down to paid, excuse me, paid exposure. it's kind of creating creative that resonates with the audience we're targeting. And so that every dollar we're spending, it's making sure that it creates the most profitable outcome, whether that's a follow, a call to action that needs to be completed. So taking it into account that we're really playing in a very pay to play type of environment is just making sure that all the dollars spent on our clients or company's behalf is making a result, right? Whether that's community growth, traffic on the website, conversions on the landing pages. Our goal is to create good creative that resonates with the audience we're targeting, and obviously creating different, I guess, case studies for what audiences we're looking at, where we're targeting them, what kind of results we're expecting from those audiences. So, in the sense of results, we're just really kind of going back to the basics in a sense. Like kind of back in the day where people paid for commercials, and that's kind of just they bought eyeballs, and the results were the results. At least now, when we pay for eyeballs, we get to measure the results, and we get from the dollars spent. So yeah, every client we work with when it comes to growth, we have a conversation with them, right? We have very serious, sincere conversation. Is grow like you used to be able to grow 5, 10 years ago on these social platforms. It's really now you're going to grow if you have great content. You're going to grow if you have a really good connection with your audience. And so when that's kind of broken down, it's easier for clients to understand that the creative side is a very important piece, right? If they're going to an Instagram or a Facebook page or a Twitter page that doesn't resonate with the audience, they're probably not going to stay for long. They're probably just going to take that freebie and move along and not follow, right?
Yeah. So yeah, because
And,
there's a
and,
lot.
and,
No,
in,
we yeah. What was it? I think.
and in regards to like our growth as a company, our biggest propeller, I guess, is serving our talent, right? Like when I say that is, for example, there's a lot of people that are good at video, photo, account management, media buying, etc. That they pretty much do this on their own. They're either freelancers or they're college students that are trying to figure out what to do next. And the goal with this company and organization is to really give them a home, right? A home that they can not only it's almost like taking the whole Google concept when it was cool, when it wasn't the super corporate thing it is now, even though it still has its obviously its benefits of the free food and the so on and so forth. But creating a culture where it kind of comes back to really being free, but still being part of an organization that really cares about you. So that's kind of what I try to do and provide for individuals that are looking to get into creative and into social. It's giving them that outlet where they're able to exercise their talents in a constructive way, as well as build something long term with them. So that's really helped us propel
Mhm.
our growth as a company.
Awesome. Yeah, yeah, because I know that we've talked before and talked about things like growth, and I decided we still have to talk because there's a lot I feel we could work on for sure in terms of growth hacking, because a lot of these kids.
Yeah,
So for those who don't know, Rob and I, we've actually talked in the past. We were at several marketing events, and we actually talked about working, because I'm a growth hacker. I've helped people go viral on Instagram and grow off of shout outs, and so there's a lot of these people, kind of solopreneurs, who are on their own, just growing pages and accounts and going viral and selling them. But yeah, a lot of times there's no community. So I think it's awesome that, Rob, you've created like a community, like a hub for people, especially social media, um, influencers and people who are good at these kinds of underground, not so well known ways of growing Instagram. For example, there's something called rounds on Instagram, where people tell people, go follow this page, and this one page is following a bunch of people. And this is kind of the way that Gary Vee and Ty Lopez grew so quick, because of all these meme pages, theme pages shouting them out. And so these are some of the strategies that I have, and I believe working together we could do a lot. So it's cool that you created like a place where people can come and share their gifts and skills, and just see what can come out of it. So yeah, other than
yeah,
that, I feel like there's so many other digital marketing agencies out there. A lot of them used to use automation. Now the automation is dead. People are wondering what to do. Have you had any troubles with that? Because a lot of people were growing their clients through Follow Liker, Mass Planner, Jarvie, like all these automation tools. Have you had any problems after automation died?
yeah. So you mentioned that there's a number of marketers that have really built a solid business from software and from growth hacks. That is a great thing. And the platform that we all know, the platform hates these things, and so for the long term, for the long run, like what has kept other agencies, not just social media, but other traditional agencies alive so long has been just the creative. What it comes down to is the time spent in creating a brand, right? And at the end of the day, I believe truly that the creative and the community and the energy poured into a brand is going to cultivate growth. I think that when a client, for example, that let's just say there's different levels of client, right? From an SMB to an enterprise level, where some SMBs have a certain budget that you could just do so much for, but there's obviously the enterprise clients that you can do a number of things to help their growth. At the end of the day, it comes down to understanding who your client is and how you're best able to help them. And so if it's an SMB that has not the biggest budget, but they're able to really invest something, there's certain, I guess, things that they should be doing with those funds to help them really propel to be able to afford more solutions, right? Whether that's media buying, whether that's collaborations, giveaways, etc. And so I think a lot more marketers are going to have to be a little bit transparent with themselves and as well with the business and the businesses that things are evolving quickly. And while in the past the company could get away with paying $500 just for some quick growth on their page, but as the platforms evolve and as social and tech evolve, I think it's going to be a lot harder to find solutions that are going to create and reap the results that they saw with that initial investment back in the day. Where now it's going to be pay to play, not only on the media buying side, but also on the talent that comes to do the work that you're looking to get done. And we've all understood there's a number of people that do social media. Whether that's someone's niece and nephew that run their business Instagram account, set them out with the scenes and the random photos. Eventually, that niece and nephew are going to take some courses, become educated, and they're going to expect a little bit more pay than the minimum wage they're offering them at the time, right? And this is going to decide to work with an actual agency that has experience working with an actual business at that level in that vertical, right? So, yeah, that's kind of like where I'm at with the future of, I guess, where this is all going for social media agencies and creatives, I guess, in a sense.
Yeah, yeah, awesome. So, how many clients, I guess, is your company serving right now, and what is the goal? I know you want to be the largest social media agency. I don't know who is the largest one. I know Gary V's VaynerMedia, they're pretty big, but who is the largest social media agency out there, and you know, where do you see yourself going?
Gotcha. So right now, currently, not necessarily. There is no one that I guess that holds a social media agency crown yet. I guess you can say that VaynerMedia does hold it. But some would argue they're still in traditional media, so they're not just a social media agency. I look at this in two ways, and I do make it a kind of a vision of mine and a goal to become the world's largest social media agency, but not in the sense of clients. And I know that's one of the ways to look at it, but more in the sense of talent, right? Like there's a lot of opportunity in creating jobs and creating jobs for creatives that don't necessarily want to work a 9 to 5 or a job that they just don't pursue creatively or passionately. And so the way I'm going about creating the world's largest social media agencies really is the biggest team, right? The biggest creatives that work under one brand organization. Clients right now, we're wealthy, so it's not like we're a tremendous team. Obviously, we could take on double that if we wanted to, but it really comes down to being selective with our time and energy spent. And so when we have clients that, to be honest, are just more of a headache than they are, the ability for us to excel in what we do best, we let them go. It's not we're not in it to flex the amount of clients we have. We're more in it that we get to do the work we like for the people we like. So that's kind of where Old Vision stands, and I think it's going to be really interesting to see. We're actually working on a platform we're rolling out for more creatives and for this vision of being the world's largest social media agency. And yeah, I've seen some media groups that are, OmniCon is pretty big. They're one of the world's biggest media groups, but they're in the traditional agency space. They're $3 billion yearly revenue style company, and so but they have like 20 or 30 agencies within that group. So it's really just, I've definitely studied the market. I know, who some of the bigger players are in the traditional marketing space. And, I'm looking to do something in this future social marketing space, which I truly believe it's social. And so, yeah, I'm doubling down and I'm investing a lot of time and energy in creating, not only the, I guess, the vehicle for it, but also the operations. I think it's one of the things that are commonly overlooked by a lot of social media marketers. There's a lot of operations and then a lot of people that go into creating the
Yeah.
bigger company. And so I've been obsessing over that for the last 2 years and really, it hasn't been
Yeah.
easy. I've had a lot to learn. I've never ran a company this big in my entire life. I'm continuously learning and educating myself on how to do it best, and obviously
Awesome.
utilizing whatever software and technology I can to make my job easier.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah. And so, thank you, Rob, for sharing. And, if you have any final words for those who are looking to get on social media, I know a lot of people, especially during the quarantine, it's a perfect time to explore social. If you have any last words of advice for those looking to get onto social or use it for their business, that'd be awesome before we end the show.
Yeah, 100%. There's out there in this world that you can buy. I don't recommend doing that. I recommend you go to Facebook, Blueprint, you go to Google, Garage, you go to LinkedIn Learning, go to the platforms themselves and take their courses. Spend time. They don't cost, but take time to learn and really dive into what it's like to be a skilled marketer in a certain part of the social atmosphere, right? I think more and more agencies in the future will look for skilled labor, skilled individual talent, which means you're good at one platform. And that's you're really good at LinkedIn, right? And so, for those of you that are looking to get into this, right, start educating yourself. I definitely feel like self-taught is the best way in this space, whether through trial and error or education and then application. And if you guys are looking for any type of like agency development, feel free to reach out to me. I know we actually have continuous 6-week training programs which we run year round for our essentially talent pool, which we consider. So every 6 weeks we're all of the new creatives that come to our agency on 3 things, mostly mindset, internal operations, and external operations. So it really gives them a well-rounded understanding of the digital media business. So yeah, if you guys need any actual tangible application, feel free to
Right.
contact me. If not, definitely check out one of the bigger, start learning how to market on those
Awesome.
platforms.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, thank you, Rob, for hopping on the call and really appreciate you sharing your knowledge. And so, yeah,
Anytime.
this concludes today's Success Spotlight. I'm your host, Raymond On, and thank you guys. We'll see you on the next show.
See you guys.